Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing watching the How to Trolldier series. Yesterday's video we watched part 1 of 2 of the secondary showcase, and it was really awesome. So today we're going to watch part 2 and see just how awesome this one's going to be. So thank you so much everybody that's been commenting down and liking and all that good stuff with the videos. Man, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And with that being said, this is your first time stopping by the channel. Do not forget to hit that sub button. Please and thank you. Well, let's go and jump into it.
Hey, welcome back. This video is the second part of a two-part thing, so make sure you go watch that first one beforehand. Or, I guess you don't have to, but still. If you still don't know what this is about, we're talking about the various secondary weapons that Soldier has and seeing how Trolldier can make use of them. Today, we're going to briefly finish up the panic attack and then move on to the banners and the memes. Alright, yeah, that's it for intros.
I love the music, man. Love the music.
Okay, so I wanted to add one more little thing to the panic attack, but I didn't think of it in time to include it in last week's voiceover.
Okay,
I did put a little caption on screen for a couple seconds, but I don't think that does this justice, because it's pretty cool. Alright, so you know how the panic attack does more damage than stock if you get up in your target's face? Well, the max damage you can pump out with full ramp up and everything is 108, as opposed to the stock shotgun's 90.
Oh.
Most people will talk about how this breaks the 2-shot threshold with Soldier, but in the context of using the panic attack on Trolldier, this breaks a huge threshold for one of our worst matchups. Heavy. If you land a Garden and then immediately follow up with a panic attack meat shot, you'll be dealing 303 damage in total, which is just barely enough to kill a full health heavy. And getting that meat shot, while a bit tricky to get used to, should be remarkably easier than in any other situation, since you're dealing with a large hitbox and a hitbox with which you're already in melee range. And thanks to the faster switch speed, all of this damage comes out in less than half a second, which would be pretty hard to react to. And even if they do react, there's no way they could rev up in time. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, that took longer than I expected. Shit. Okay, so now it's actually time for banners. As far as banners go, the buff banner is undoubtedly the worst one for Trolldier. This is because A, it doesn't have any passives, unlike Conch and Battalions, and B, the buff that it gives you is pretty pointless. Like, mini crits. Yay! It's not like the whole point of Trolldier is to get crits or anything. I guess you could make the argument that the slightly more powerful butter shovels could be funny. I don't know, you still 2-shot light classes, but hey, you 2-shot demos pyros and medics now. 3-shot soldiers too, I guess, and heavies still annihilate you. You can 2-shot light classes with the whip, so... No! Okay, who am I kidding? It sucks. Use it for memes if you want, but if you actually want to be effective, then you should look elsewhere. Wait, you're watching a Trolldier video. What the hell am I even talking about? Yeah, this is the best banner. You should definitely use it all the time. The Conch is good. Like it's really good. Now, there are 3 things in particular that make it stand out so much. One is that it takes 480 damage to charge, unlike the other banners which take 600. This means that you could theoretically charge it entirely with 2 crits and 2 butter shovels, as opposed to having to get 3 crits and 1 butter shovel for any other banner. 2 is the passive. The health regen is really good, especially on maps without very many health packs. But there's one little quirk that holds it back from being unquestionably the best banner. It's still probably the best, but I'd argue that the Battalions is at least in the same tier. Anyway, the Conch's health regen ramps up over time, right? And it resets when you take damage, but unfortunately, when you jump with the rocket jumper, it still registers as taking damage, which is multiplied by 0. So you don't get hurt, but the regen still resets. So it's not quite as good as it could be, but it's still pretty insane. Okay, and see, the buff itself is awesome. You get even more health regen for hitting gardens, and the speed buff is nice for doing weird jumps, closing gaps, and memeing with butter shovels. So all around, this is one of the best utilities that Trolldier can use. It's just really good. This is probably the second best banner of the 3. It gives the Conch a run for its money for sure, but its upsides aren't as flashy and it prioritizes defense over offense. It takes longer to charge like I talked about earlier, and the passive isn't quite as strong. Like, 20 extra health is nice, don't get me wrong. It breaks some standard damage thresholds like dying to 2 pills, but given how much you're going to be jumping around as Trolldier, you'd probably just crater anyway. Even so, that little bit of extra safety plus the marginal increase in effectiveness of health packs is nice. It's good. It's certainly better than nothing. Where this weapon really shines, though, is the active buff. Damage resistance is solid, and the anti-crit effect is absolutely insane in pubs, as well as against just snipers in general. Like, really, this buff is basically the biggest middle finger to snipers there is.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
It also helps in Trolldier duels, but any competent
I just love the humor, man. Soundsmith just does a fantastic job of making some amazing humor, quick little meme stuff like that. It's just so funny, man.
The effect and not go for gardens while it's active. Basically, this just gives you a little bit of immunity to go for more risky stuff with your shovel. Come to think of it, that's the primary difference between this and the conch. The battalions gives you a little bit of room for error and allows you to do crazy stuff with your shovel, while the conch enables you to do even crazier stuff with your shovel at the cost of a little extra risk. So, hey, at the end of the day, they're both good. Pick which one suits you better.
I'll say, it just sounds like whichever one is, fits your playstyle a little bit better.
The base jumper is also one of those weapons that's looked down upon because it was something that actually rivaled the man treads in terms of both utility and meme value. It was significantly nerfed in Jungle Inferno, but it's still really solid for Trolldier. The name of the game with the base jumper is air velocity. Opening your parachute significantly slows your vertical velocity and also hard caps your horizontal velocity. It also lets you strafe in a much tighter circle than you would have been able to otherwise, though it's significantly slower thanks to the Jungle Inferno nerfs. And also, once you open it, you can't close it unless you're sure it's okay, because you won't be able to open it again.
Better test the parachute. Well, at least that worked.
Oh man, I love Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Even with all these limitations, the base jumper opens up a ton of options that weren't present before. You can garden more easily in buildings, get to areas that were previously inaccessible without B-hops, and even change up your air velocity to throw off your target's aim. You just have more options, more control. They're very similar to the man treads, honestly. It's funny how this one is looked down upon so much. The man treads give you more air control, but the base jumper gives you more control over your air velocity. The base jumper eases up the timing on your gardens, but the man treads ease up the timing on your jumps. They're two sides of the same coin, in my opinion. It's just that everyone likes to shit on the base jumper because it isn't fast like the man treads. Like, I don't know. Usually people will say that the base jumper is for people who can't hit their market gardens, but by that logic, wouldn't the man treads be for people who can't avoid air shots? Like, yeah, I know I talked smack about the base jumper in earlier episodes of How to Trolldier, but that's because I was speaking under the assumption that the target audience was made up of people learning to use the market gardener in the first place. If you don't have a solid sense for the timing of your shovel swings, then yeah, equipping a set of training wheels can hurt you in the long run. But if you've got a good handle on when to swing, like I'm assuming by this point in the series, then this is really good. Besides, any utility can form bad habits if you use it exclusively, so use lots of stuff.
Oh, that was sick.
For you. Wow, okay, that got really serious. Yeah, meme weapons. Let's talk about meme weapons.
Oh, man.
The Bison. Oh, God,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Bison.
you can already hear it in his voice. He's just like, the Bison, here we
Every time
go.
I think of this poor soul, a part of my soul dies. These days, it's such a trash weapon that nobody dares even use it for memes, whereas before, it was, okay, it was still pretty trash, but ever since Valve nerfed it into the ground, it was just never the same.
But Soundsmith, didn't they revert the Bison in Jungle Inferno?
See, you'd think that based on the patch notes, but it wasn't fully reverted thanks to some hitbox shenanigans. I actually made a video on that, which you can watch by clicking the link in the description. Hey,
Really?
Okay, but really though.
Because as far as the way it looks like a really cool weapon. Like, and it seems like that's kind of like, it's just like the other one looks almost just like it. It's also very cool looking, but you can't, is the Cowmangler, you can't really like use it that well. So it just seems like some of the cooler looking weapons happen to be, one of the ones that get nerfed the most, it
Bison
seems.
is not in a good spot right now. It's useful for spamming out choke points and being a meme lord, but that's about it. Like, I love the Bison. I love this thing to death, and even I can't think of a practical use for this on Trolldier. But, I mean, I guess part of being Trolldier is using hilariously impractical stuff as a joke, so who knows? Maybe this is just a themed loadout. And you know what? Despite how hilariously bad this thing is, it isn't even the worst option you can pick.
The gun boots, okay.
This does literally nothing. I'm serious. It's a weapon that reduces self-inflicted blast damage being used with a weapon that does no damage in the first place. And despite this,
Wow.
I actually do have something to talk about with this. That's right, this secondary, despite doing literally nothing on Trolldier, is not useless.
Oh.
Soundsmith, how could you?
It looked like he had like a on his shoulder, like he had like I want to say a dog or something. I don't know. So is that like a cosmetic you can get? Let me
You're
know.
misinforming your fan base, you idiotic piece of shit. I can't believe this joke of a video you're putting out. You're so
Oh.
stupid. Look at my comp medal. Please think I'm good.
Okay, just hear me out. I don't have any comp medals, but I can still have an opinion, yeah? Yes, it does nothing on paper. Yes, it's undoubtedly the worst weapon for the slot if you're using the rocket jumper, but it does do something very important. Tilting. Just imagine this. You're a UGC Steel Scout trying to farm your scattergun in a pub so that people in scrims will think you're good, and you're on a 19 kill streak. You're just destroying everyone. God, you're so fucking badass. And you're about to get your godlike when all of a sudden this fucking dumbass with pot on his head flies in and kills you instantly. And while you're still trying to process what happened, it zooms in on him for the freeze frame, and he's wearing gunboats. Fucking gunboats. What? Why? Why on earth would you possibly be using that?
There it is. Yeah, it's got like a dog or something on his shoulder. I must know what that is.
On Trolldier. What the
Please
fuck?
let me know if you know in a comment.
I don't understand what is going on here.
Ethan.
What? What, KJ? What is it?
I know why he's wearing gunboats.
Why, KJ? Why on earth would he ever be wearing gunboats on Trolldier?
Maybe he's got a strange one.
What? It's no secret that Trolldier is infuriating to be killed by, and as scummy as it might seem, when people get mad, they tend to play worse and make dumb mistakes. You can take advantage of this with Trolldier's natural absurdity, but if you want to take it to the next level, that's where gunboats shine the most. It's the most effective against people who will tilt easily, so keep your eye out for soldiers, scouts, snipers, and spies. And sure, there's no way to perfectly manipulate this. Sometimes people would just think it's funny as shit, but hey, when that happens, at least you made a new friend. Win-win. Except, you know, when you lose, because using gunboats on Trolldier sucks big fat gorilla dick. So, I know manheads are kind of the default option for Trolldier these days, but
I was not expecting that at all.
a ton of fun messing around with all the other different options that Soldier has available to him, and I really encourage you to do the same. I feel like I've got a good handle on how they all work and the benefits that they can give for Trolldier, but there's undoubtedly some stuff that I missed. So if you find something that I didn't mention, or if you disagree with me on something, or if you prefer the upsides of one secondary over another, that's fine. I'd actually love to hear about it. Let's discuss that shit in comments. Also commenting puts me in the suggested video algorithm. You should do that. Comment, please. Please, God. I'm sure as hell not the absolute authority on this, so any info or insight is greatly appreciated. And now, I'm going to end this two-parter the same way it began. With a stupid, unnecessarily synced edit. Yeah.
Ooh. Love it. Oh, man.
Soldier.
All right.
All right, man. That was awesome. That was part 2 of the secondary showcase. That was great, man. Once again, about Soundsmith, I'll be sure to put the original video link down below for you to go check it out for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, man. It really, really helps out the channel here. If there's anything else you need to see me react to, just let me know in the comments down below. And that's all I got for you. So I will see you in the next video. And do not forget, man, it's Orc Army for life.